C1 series, arithmetic sequences. There are two types of series in C1, arithmetic and recurrence relationships. You need to be very careful before you start to make sure that you decide which sort of a sequence it is. So first of all, to identify whether it's arithmetic, look for the word arithmetic. Most questions on arithmetic series, somewhere in the question it will say the phrase arithmetic series. So spot that word, circle it, and then as soon as you know that you're on an arithmetic series, you then go to the formula book for the formulae. Now, if you can't see the word arithmetic anywhere in the question, you need to write out 3 or 4 consecutive terms. Usually it won't be arithmetic, but if you find that you do have the same common difference, again, you can use the formulae. Be very careful. If it is not an arithmetic series, you must not use the formulae in the formula book, and that's a very common mistake. It's not an arithmetic series and people try to use the formula. So, if it is an arithmetic series, the first thing you need to do, turn to your formula book, write down the 2 formulae that are given. The first one is for the nth term, un equals a plus n minus 1d. Write down next to it nth term. It will help you if you use words rather than just un. And the second series is for the sum, so write down sum of n terms, and it gives you 2 different formulae. A half n a plus l is more simple. L stands for the last term. Quite often you don't know the last term in your series, so rather than use that formula, the one that's more common to use is a half of 2a plus n minus 1d. So to be able to use those formulae, you need to know what a and d are, and that's got to be one of your priorities. Read the question very carefully, because you'll often be given A and D in the question. It might use words. It will say the first term is £3,700, or it will say in the first year they had £3,700. So if you can find A, and if you can find each year the series increases or the payment increases by £10, that will be what D is. So if you can, identify A and D to start off with. Now occasionally they won't give you A and D, and you have to find these out, and the method to do that is simultaneous equations. So a couple of examples, it might be you're given the 3rd term and you're given the 6th term. The easiest way to think of the 3rd term, go back to your formula. It is a plus n minus 1d, so the 3rd term is to say a plus 2d. So for example, you might have a plus 2d is 10, and you might be given the 6th term, a plus 5d is 31. And then all you've got is you put 2 very simple linear simultaneous equations to solve to find what A and D are. Now sometimes you might be given other information in the question. For example, the question might tell you that the sum of the first 5 terms is 10 and the 8th term is 22. So again, you need to write those down in algebra and then solve simultaneous equations. So if the 8th term is 22, you turn that into a plus 7d is 22. That's using a plus n minus 1d. And then I know that the sum of the first 5 terms is 10. So I've got the word sum. I write down the sum formula. I know that's equal to 10. Substitute in your numbers. So there are 5 terms, so it's 5 over 2, 2a. There are 5 terms, so it's 4, n minus 1 is 4d. If you're using this one, this will simplify, multiply out the brackets, and I get 5a plus 10d is 10. So I've got this equation and I've got this equation, put them together, and again you've got simultaneous equations. You need to multiply this equation by 5 and then subtract to find A and D. Once you know what A and D are, you then may need to use the formulae. Now, one of the key things where people make mistakes is that they use the wrong formula. So you need to make sure before you start that you've absolutely got the right formula. And one of the ways to spot it is to look for the words altogether, in total, the sum, because all of these will indicate that you're trying to use the sum formula rather than the nth term formula. Make sure that you pick the right formula, write out the formula, and then substitute in your values for A and D. You also need to learn the proof of the sum of an arithmetic progression. Now the proof for that is in your C1 textbook. It's on page 93, and you need to look at the last 8 lines on page 93. Learn those, and if it comes up, it will be worth 4 marks. Doesn't come up every year, but if it does, you need to know exactly each of the steps that you need to do. And that, in essence, is arithmetic sequences.